Good night. Happy New Year.
Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro perp walked after being captured in a U.S. raid that prompts global legal questions. At least 1 dead and 8 others injured in Shek Kip Mei Estate fire, with power fault a possible cause. And let's take in this spectacular view of the red and yellow winter foliage at Lau Shui Heung Reservoir. Good evening. You're watching Cable News. I'm Jeremy Chu. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro is set to appear in a New York City court as soon as Monday on drugs and weapons charges, after being captured in a United States military operation that President Donald Trump said would set the U.S. up to run the country, sending shockwaves across much of the international community. Cheryl Yun begins our coverage.
The White House released videos of Maduro being captured and escorted to New York, in which he was described as being perp-walked.
Good night. Happy New Year.
Trump posted a photo on social media of Maduro blindfolded and handcuffed on board the USS Iwo Jima Navy assault ship. Maduro and his wife Celia Flores were flown to the U.S. naval base at Guantanamo Bay in Cuba before being transported to New York and held in the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. The two are set to appear in court as soon as Monday, facing 4 criminal charges, including narco-terrorism conspiracy. Trump described the unprecedented military intervention as extremely successful.
This extremely successful operation should serve as warning to anyone who would threaten American sovereignty or endanger American lives. The dictator and terrorist, Maduro, is finally gone in Venezuela. People are free. They're free again. It's been a long time for them, but they're free. America is a safer nation. This morning,
he said the U.S. will assume control of Venezuela, including its oil reserves, justifying what Venezuela denounced as military aggression with rhetoric of peace and freedom.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. And it has to be judicious, because that's what we're all about. We want peace, liberty, and justice for the great people of Venezuela.
He added that American oil companies would move into the country to fix Venezuela's broken infrastructure and start making money for the country. It remains unclear how Trump would run Venezuela, but he ruled out cooperating with opposition leader Maria Corina Machado, while claiming interim leader Vice President Delcy Rodriguez is open to working with Washington. Rodriguez countered by affirming Maduro as Venezuela's sole president, slamming the U.S. capture as military aggression and kidnapping of Maduro and his wife, demanding their immediate release. She also vowed Venezuela will never be a colony again. Cheryl Yun, Cable News.
Venezuela's Supreme Court has directed Vice President Delcy Rodriguez to assume the powers and duties of acting president. At least 40 people were reportedly killed in U.S. airstrikes on Venezuela, and its neighbors and allies, including Beijing, condemned the U.S. for violating international law. Jamie Liu reports.
In capital Caracas, Venezuelan government supporters torched the United States flag. The flames raged, and so did they. Many were furious about the U.S. bombing of their homeland and the capture of President Nicolas Maduro, and demanded his immediate release. The people will take to the streets to resist, and angry supporters said as they recalled watching the American operation unfold in disbelief. Amid an atmosphere of uncertainty, some Venezuelans flocked to stock up daily essentials, forming long queues at grocery stores, pharmacies, and even gas stations. Some residents, who asked not to be named when speaking to media, expressed anxiety about the South American country's political future.
Unidad, unidad.
Venezuela's neighbors in the region, including Mexico and Colombia, condemned the U.S. actions. Cuba denounced them as an act of state terrorism, a criminal assault against South America. However, in the Argentine capital of Buenos Aires, the mood was festive as thousands of Venezuelan migrants celebrated the ousting of Maduro. European nations expressed concern over the situation in Venezuela and reiterated the need to respect international law in any resolution. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said he was waiting to establish facts and refrained from commenting whether the U.S. strikes had broken international law. Beijing, one of Venezuela's long-term allies, strongly condemned the U.S. use of force against a sovereign country and its president. It urged Washington to free Maduro and his wife immediately, cease efforts to overthrow the Venezuelan government, and seek resolution through dialogue. Jamie Liu, Cable News.
Back in Hong Kong, the Fire Services Department is investigating an electrical fault as a possible cause of a fire at Shek Kip Mei public housing flat this morning, which left 1 man dead and 8 others injured, 2 of them in serious condition. Evelyn Bai has more details.
Online footage captured thick smoke billowing from the flat on the 21st floor at Mei Yu House in Shek Kip Mei Estate, with flames shooting out of the window. Firefighters arrived swiftly and extinguished the fire in about an hour. A burnt body was later found inside the affected flat. Approximately 270 residents were evacuated from their homes, with some assisted by firefighters or carers. Those who suffered smoke inhalation were taken to hospital. Others with minor injuries were treated on site. This man, who lives just 3 units away from the affected unit, said he sealed all the gaps around the front door, but the smoke kept coming in. Firefighters arrived in around 10 minutes and rescued him and his wife, together with their dogs. This resident recalled that he heard the alarm first and thought it was a drill until his domestic helper saw smoke outside the window. He walked down to a 21st floor and found that 2 people were trying to put out a fire, but there was no water coming from the fire hose. However, the department's acting assistant divisional officer, Yip Kam Kong, said the equipment was functioning properly when officers used it on the blaze, and the building held a valid certificate for its annual inspection of fire service installations and equipment. We will investigate the cause from multiple perspectives, including the possibility of an electrical fault. The flat was severely burned. Firefighters found a considerable amount of clutter inside, which may rescue more difficult, he added. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
Police are reminding residents, especially elderly people, not to let strangers into their homes without checking who they are. This comes after a 51-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of posing as a water supplies department worker in an attempt to burgle flats occupied by seniors living alone. During the operation, some of the stolen items were recovered, including mobile phones and cash. Over the Christmas holiday period, police received reports from residents at Anti-burglary Estate in Tuen Mun, Lai Kok Estate in Chan Sha Wan, and tenement buildings in Sham Shui Po. They reported being approached by individuals suspected of posing as water supplies department staff or plumbers, who requested entry to inspect water pipes and then took the opportunity to steal property. A police spokesperson detailed the suspect's method. Once inside, he would pretend to conduct checks, swiftly take valuables left in plain sight, and leave within 1 to 2 minutes. The man wore casual clothing, carried no bag, and did not show any official identification. Investigators believe the same individual committed all the offenses, deliberately targeting less secure housing estates and older buildings to prey on vulnerable, elderly residents. Police advised the public to always verify a stranger's identity before granting access. If someone claims to be from a government department, residents should contact the agency directly to confirm their credentials to avoid falling victim to a scam. Hong Kong business leaders have downplayed the potential impact of the U.S. military operation in Venezuela on the city, while expressing optimism about the financial hub's economic prospects in 2026. Cheryl Yun reports.
The U.S. operation that led to the capture of Nicolas Maduro, the president of oil-rich Venezuela, has sparked global concern amid already tense geopolitics. Speaking after a radio interview, Executive Councillor Jeffrey Lam acknowledged that potential volatility in oil prices could affect Hong Kong's imports and exports, but he dismissed fears of major disruption to the city's trade or economy.
It will definitely affect the crude oil situation around the world. Whether it will jack up the price, whether it will affect prices of different raw materials, we are yet to see.
He suggested the instability could even work in Hong Kong's favor by driving more investment towards stable markets.
We expect the situation in Venezuela may attract more foreign investments to Hong Kong. As I said, Hong Kong is a very, very stable economy, and our policy don't change overnight.
Lawmaker Sonny Tan echoed his view, describing Hong Kong as a key stabilizer amid unpredictable global events.
And Venezuela, it's one of the kind of situation where it's hard to predict, how to manage. But in Hong Kong, the key is we are the stabilizer. Our country is the stabilizer. So I think for all the important investors or business people, they are looking for ways to stabilize, to diversify their risk. And I can see that the Hong Kong market and China market will be a very important element.
Tan also pointed to last year's robust IPO activity in Hong Kong, boosted by strong investor confidence despite U.S. tariff pressure, as evidence of the city's underlying strength heading into 2026. Cheryl Yun, Cable News.
Financial Secretary Paul Chan said Hong Kong stocks kicked off 2026 on the most favorable note in over a decade, as innovation and technology firms led the gains. He expects a steady stream of cutting-edge tech enterprises to apply for listings this year. Evelyn Bai reports.
Writing in his weekly blog, Chen noted that on the first trading day of the year, the benchmark Hang Seng Index jumped more than 700 points, or 2.8%, marking the strongest start since 2013. The Hang Seng Tech Index rose 4%, as market optimism about artificial intelligence spilled over into the new year. With mainland AI chipmaker Biren Technology surging on its Hong Kong debut, Chen described INT firms as the main force behind the rally. He added that in recent years, initiatives such as the special listing channel for tech enterprises proposed in the 2025-26 budget and stock exchange reforms have met the demand of investors for allocation into frontier technology sectors. As of last year, more than 400 new economy companies were listed in the city, accounting for around 30% of market capitalization and turnover. He expects more frontier tech firms to seek listings this year. Regarding the Hong Kong Shenzhen Innovation and Technology Park in Hetao, Chen said it is a key example of a strong players' collaboration in INT between Hong Kong and the Greater Bay Area. The first 3 buildings in the park have been completed. Over 60 enterprises from overseas, the mainland and Hong Kong have begun moving into 2 web laboratory towers, bringing occupancy close to 80%. By industry, nearly half focus on AI and data science, and about 40% on life and health technologies. He added that through the synergy of finance and INT, Hong Kong stands out in an era where technology defines competitiveness. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
It's that time of the year again for admiring the autumn and winter foliage. Many residents have taken advantage of the holiday to visit Lau Shui Heung Reservoir in Pat Sin Lane Country Park to capture the moment with the reddening bald cypress trees.
The row of bald cypress trees along Lau Shui Heung Reservoir has already turned into a vibrant shade of red-orange. As their reflection shimmered on the sunlit water, the reservoir glowed like a mirror of the sky. Hikers couldn't wait to snap photos from the viewing platform on the opposite shore. Some families brought their children and pets along to enjoy the winter leaves together. Since 2011, bald cypress trees have been planted around the reservoir. When exposed to low temperatures and strong sunlight, the breakdown of chlorophyll in the leaves accelerates, turning them yellow and red. Starting from today and on every weekend and public holiday until the 19th of February, the Agriculture, Fisheries and Conservation Department will deploy eco-guides to introduce the beauty of this country park.
Onto the weather now. Cloudy periods overnight, mainly fine tomorrow. The temperatures will range between 15 and 22 degrees. Dry during the day, moderate east to northeasterly winds. That's our news tonight. I'm Jeremy Chu. Thanks for watching and good night.